I'm back! Good news! This IT isn't as hard as the previous rotation, so you guys should nail it. Before I start talking about each act, let me give you a quick summary on which blessings to take to make your life a little bit easier. Focus on the right side when choosing any blessings. Try to aim for Electrocharge level 1, Frozen level 2, and Superconduct level 2, as these buffs are great. If you have extra flowers, you can work your way towards Frozen level 4 for a nice buff to your Cryo or Hydro DPS, or level 3 of any blessings for overall buffs. Alright, anyway, enough with the delay. Let's jump right into my tips for each act to help you obtain your Stellas a little easier. As always, it's great if you have 32 characters as you get more buffs and start off with an extra 120 flowers, which allows you to obtain 2 blessings and 2 characters, depending on your luck. Unlike the previous rotation, Acts 1, 2, 3 of this Imaginarium theater can be done with trial characters without any blessings, so you don't need to reset much. While not required, taking Electrocharge Blessing level 1 helps on the first 3 acts, so you can opt to go for it. For the first act, choose the fight against the Ruin Greater and Ruin Drake. Trial Yelan and Auroron can carry through this fight, so if you have any lame filler characters to throw away, you know those level 70s with talent level 1s, this is a good place to use them. If you have your own Yelan and Auroron build, you can also opt to do the Elite stage for 110 flowers. I would not recommend doing this using trial characters unless you have blessings to help your damage. It is a little bit tough. For Act 2, choose the fight against the Fatui. You'll be using Yelan and Auroron again, but with the help of Layla. Attack from the side of the Pyroslinger Bracer. Blech. Attack from the side of the Pyroslinger Blade. Start your attack from the side of the Pyroslinger Bracer. The Pyro Sniper dude. So they would group up better. Layla is there to help take care of the Electro Hammer Vanguards. What is wrong with these Fatui names? Attack from the side of the Pyroslinger Blazer. I cannot do this. Start your attack from the side of the Pyroslinger Bracer, so they would group up better. Layla is there to help take care of the Electro Hammer Vanguard's shield when he shields up. You can almost ignore the Animo Boxer Vanguard, he'll die without much resistance usually. After those 3 are dead, you're left with the Wind Operative, which should not be too hard to defeat. Again, if you have your own Yelan and Auroron build, you should not have a problem doing the Elite stage for 110 flowers. Just remember to cast your Yelan burst before the Wayup drains your energy. Act 3 is quite easy and doable with Trial Flints and Aino plus 2 fillers, especially if you took the Electrocharge Blessing level 1. Of course, having your own Aino with better ER makes life a lot easier, but make sure she's on 4-piece SMS. If possible, bring another Electro character too, because Trial Flints has a little bit of an ER issue. Here you can see I barely did it with Trial Flints and a weird team, and this was without any Electrocharge Blessing too. Now, Act 4 for this rotation is not cheesable. I repeat, it is not cheesable. Enemies will constantly target the monolith. The Pyro Ball and Slimes are far more aggressive but a little easier to kill, and can also be staggered by Electro DPSer. If you have Moalani, pick this fight. It's probably the only act she can properly vaporize. On the other hand, the Ruin Sentinels are far less aggressive and each kill takes off more seconds from the timer. Half the time, their attention can be taken away, so it makes defending a lot easier. I would suggest picking this fight for most players. Just take note when you kill your first enemy, the next Ruin Sentinel will spawn on the west side. It looks like a jellyfish and it will lay an egg right where the monolith is, which deals massive damage if you don't get his attention. So make sure once your first enemy is dead, immediately run to the newly spawned enemy and smack him. Act 5 is a little tricky. Generally, if you have Kazuha or Novelet, choose the Kairagi, and if you don't, the Hydro Mimics is probably a better option for you. Trial Flins can do any of the fights, but I usually like to keep him for a Luna stage, especially if you have Inefa or Colombina. You can consider him an option if you have no one better here though. Take note for Hydro Mimics, they spawn counterclockwise every time you kill an enemy, while for the Kairagi, they spawn clockwise. As for the elite option, it's not that much more difficult than the other two, so if you have the DPS, go for it. It's 110 flowers. They all spawn at the same spot, so you don't need to run around either. Act 6 needs frozen reactions, and thankfully Trial Skirk is really not bad. If you have the frozen blessing by now, especially level 2, it is a done deal. To give perspective, a Trial Skirk with Xingqiu on a level 2 frozen blessing with any 2 filler characters can clear this. So if it's your own Skirk, or there's a Tenacity Layla, or an Escoffier, or a TTDS holder like Charlotte, Barbara, it just makes this fight a lot easier. All you need is to make sure you have a good Hydro Applicator, since Skirk can't freeze on her own. I prefer using Xingqiu here, so I can save Farina to be used elsewhere. But if you get really unlucky with Hydro characters showing up, hopefully you still have Aino to use here. If, however, it is Aino and a Trial Skirk, I hope you have Escoffier or other buffers to help her do more damage. There's nothing special about Act 7. As long as you have a DPSer, you should be fine. You have a choice between the Fontaine Clockwork Mecha or the Precursor Secret Source Matrix of Overseer Network. What a mouthful. Some might call it Psmon, or I like to just call it the Moonball. The easier option would be the Clockwork Mecha, since almost any team would work on them. But if you have a Superconduct team you really want to play, you can go smack some balls. Just make sure you still have a Superconduct team for Act 8, and try not to waste Sandrone here since her DPS is good and probably better to use elsewhere. I personally like to use Arlecchino Overload here if I have that team. The elite option isn't bad here, especially if you have Novelette or good AoE DPS. Just remember, they spawn in pairs and you need to deal damage to both of them, or they will heal based on the one with the higher HP. Act 8 is basically made for Sandrone, so as long as you have her, you should be fine. If you don't, go borrow one from a friend. Okay, jokes aside, if you don't have Sandrone by the time you do this act, there are several characters who can still do it, but it might take a little bit more effort. You should still make sure you save some Electro and Cryo characters who can take care of the Flying Bulls. The easiest pair would be Inefa and Escoffier, but there are a lot of other options. Even Chi-Chi and Cookie work too if you time your jumps well. Just make sure your Cryo or Electro DPSer is strong enough to dish out the damage once the Flying Bulls are gone. Act 9 can be a pain if you do not have enough Cryo Applicators here. Generally, your best bet is to pray for the elite option because it is actually easier, gives you more flowers, and allows you to play almost any team you want. If you do end up with the Abyss Mages instead, choose the one with the Electro Mages. They are a lot easier than their Hydro brothers because they teleport to you to attack you. That means you don't really need to chase them much, and that saves a lot of time. Bring as many Cryo off-field applicators as you can, like Kea, Rosaria, Sitlali, Escoffier, the list goes on, and basically it's done. Your main DPS can be an Electro if you don't have anyone else, and it will still be fine. The Cryo is there to break the shield, and once it's down, your DPS can do their thing. It doesn't matter if you're Cryo, Hydro, Electro, or even Arlecchino. Now, before I get to Act 10, let me circle back to the 2 Luna stages that I've not covered. Both Luna stages are similar, where multiple enemies spawn and you need to kill 18 of them before the timer ends. Each time you kill one, it reduces the timer, so AoE DPSs have a huge advantage here. Luna 1 has Black Serpents and 3 are always on field, while Luna 2 has Eremites with 2 being on field at a given time. Luna 1 enemies have less HP and are easier to kill than Luna 2, but that's expected, since Luna 2 is meant to be harder. My 3 favorite teams to use here are Flins, Sandrone, or Novelette. Just make sure for Luna 1 you have a healer or healers, because the whole team takes damage as time goes by. Team-wide healers like Sigwin, Escoffier, and a Barbara who can burst are fantastic here. Just try to kill as fast as possible so you won't need to worry about your HP. Trial Flints actually works fine here too, but you would need Columbina or Inefa to help a little. Just take note, if you bring a shielder like Inefa for Luna 1, try not to get hit by the Pyro Black Serpent, as once he hits you, all of them get a Pyro Shield. It's still not that bad though. You should still be able to get the shield down and kill them in time if you played one of the 3 teams I mentioned earlier. Luna 2 also does periodic damage, but only to the on-fielder character, so any shielder or healer helps. Or a Nouvelette who can heal himself since you don't need to worry about your off-fielders dying. Oh yeah, just in case you're wondering, a Skirk team works here too, but you'd probably need Escoffier. Now finally, we reach Act 10. I don't think I need to talk much about this boss. We've seen it a million times in IT and Abyss. Just use your best DPS team here and you should be fine. Almost any team with Inefa and Columbina would do it. One team I do not recommend though is Arlecchino Overload unless you have Yansan, because it could get pretty painful. I know I've tried it with a good Arlecchino, Fischl, Chevrus, plus a filler Electro, but it did not end well. I even tried this with a Trial Skirk on a Frozen Blessing level 4 and succeeded. With Escoffier, of course, but this also shows that you should never underestimate the IT buff. My personal favorite though is using Sandrone here, since the IT buffs benefit her and she does a good burst damage once the PMA is in its weakened state. You know, sometimes we just like to see that big number. If she crits. Big number? Third time's a charm? There we go! I really hope some of these tips help you get the Stellas you need. Comment below if you have any questions on any of the acts, blessings, bosses, mechanics, whatever. Or you can ask me on Twitch where I stream almost every day. Thank you for watching and have a nice day.